Yo, my friends, John Huldt here again. Today I'm gonna show you how I go about creating a chord melody. See, the fan is going. It's winter in Los Angeles, so it's like 80 degrees, or maybe 27 in centigrade for the civilized part of the world. Anyways, so that's why the fan is rocking and rolling. So what I do when I make, this is my guitar by the way, hello, when I make chord melodies is first I figure out what the harmony is for the song, like what are the chords, then I figure out what the melody is doing, the vocal melody, and then I try to figure out is there a way I can fit the two together. This is a really cool way of playing guitar because you end up being the whole band by yourself. Like you're at a party, there's always going to be some dumbass playing. He makes his face too. It's always the guy you hate who plays Wonderwall. But if you can play something, and not just to show off at parties, but if you can play something where you're playing both the melody and all the band stuff by yourself, it's a really fun way to play guitar, and it sounds really cool. And all of a sudden, you don't need anyone else. Oh, I can't play because my drummers and whatever. You'll be the whole band. So, basically, what I'm doing, I'm figuring out the harmony, what the chords are. I figure out what the melody is, and then I try to decide like what kind of groove I want to do, and if I want to retain parts from the original song and stuff like that. So the song I'm going to show you how to do a chord melody on is "Come Together" by the Beatles. Everybody's heard it. It's pretty easy. I'm just going to show you the parts. Like, this is what's going on in the song. It's an intro. Play it on bass. Something like that. Then there's and I can't sing, I don't care. But it's a D tonality that goes into an A. So and so on. There's a chorus, "Come together right now." Whatever the hell they're singing. What do I know? So I figured out that the chords revolve around, like, it's a D rock and roll kind of thing. That goes into an A, that goes into a G. That would be the verse. The chorus is a B minor, into an A, into a G, into an A. Excuse me, I still have a little bit of a cold, but I won't let that stop me from educating you on the ways of chord melody guitar playing. Jazz dudes are normally the ones who are the masters at the whole chord melody thing. Check out Jody Fisher if you haven't, or Joe Pass, those guys. Cray, but you can do this with pop and rock stuff too. It doesn't have to be jazz. So for those of you who's not into jazz, you can still enjoy doing this. This is water, by the way. So first thing I'm going to do is figure out how to play the intro. And again, the intro goes something like... So pardon me, bass players, if I'm screwing this up. What do I know? It's a bass part. This is in key D, and it just happens, it happens to lend itself really well to drop D tuning. And one thing I like to do is, like, I like to use open strings when I can, little technical tricks like that, because it really adds to it. So what I could do is I could play the intro like this. So I'm using an open D string instead if we go back to D here. I guess I should post a tab on this at some point too. So that's pretty cool, and you probably know there's like a triplet drum thing. So maybe we can incorporate that somehow. So I thought about it for a second, and so I'm not really a percussive guitar player. I don't know how to do that stuff. But I came up with this little hammer-on thing. If I mute it, it sort of emulates how the toms and the drums roll. So you can go maybe every time. That sounds pretty cool. Now to the verse. Melody is a straight up pentatonic thing. We already established it goes sort of like a D rock and roll thing. I might keep that, I might not. The melody goes. Basically, there might be some rhythmic variations to it, but that's about it. So, what if I just start by playing an easy chord notes pattern and just see if I can play the melody over that? You're already 10 times cooler than the Wonderwall guy, just saying. Because it's pretty cool, but it feels a little empty. A trick I like to use. I sat further back, maybe you can see both my face and my guitar. Let's try that. Oh, look at that. Technology. We'll have it. Something I like to use with pentatonics, since this is a pentatonic melody, is you can harmonize it in fourths. That's a tough word when you're not a native English speaker. Fourths. Because it sounds really good. If you know your pentatonic skill, you probably have done this. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool, right? So what if we just add a fourth below and try that? Yeah, it starts to sound pretty toit. What if we had a little bit of a backbeat? If you know anything about the drums, then you should, because drums are good to know. They have a kick drum that goes boom, and then the snare drum goes clack. And they usually play the kick drum on 1 and 3 and the snare drum on 2 and 4. Doom, clack, doom, clack. We call this the heavy emphasis on the backbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, like that's where you clap your hands if you're not completely retarded. So what you can do, what I like to do is I like to spank my guitar. I literally just hit it. So if I try to do that on tune 4, 1, 2, this is gonna be hard to play and count at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Starts to sound pretty cool if I take it up in tempo a little bit. So I'm doing exactly the same thing I was doing before. You take the melody, playing even chord notes on the low E string that's not a D, and then I just spank the shit out of the guitar on 2 and 4. This one's a little special. I had to figure out how to spank and play at the same time. So instead of like my normal plucking, I kind of snap on the fingers like this. That way I can, I don't know if you can see it, both this end. I can both spank the guitar and get the guitar, notes out. Sometimes I get a little overzealous and spank more than I should, but you know it's all good. As long as you keep time, you're fine. Let's take a look at the chords. We had that's over an A. And if you've done your homework on harmony and stuff, if you haven't, ask me about the harmonized scale and I'll explain to you. The 5, or rather A, is the 5 of D. You know, this is the dominant chord. So an A7 is gonna sound just jolly here. So what if we go? And I sort of already established a big chord note thing, so I should probably stick to that. You want to avoid changing grooves. So I'm basically just playing, which is the melody, right? And then I play the chord notes with my thumb. Sounds cool, but a little bit empty. What if I add a little more chord? I'm just going to take an A7, the simplest A I know. It's just an A7 chord, right? Keep doing my thumb thing, and if I add the backbeat, yeah, it sounds pretty cool. If I put this together with the, I hope I didn't call this the chorus because it's not really. If I put it together with the verse. Chorus, I guess. Far from perfect, but hey, it works, right? Then we had the break thing. We have a break on a G. Normally we play G like this, right? But since we dropped D, the E string, this now works as a G. You know, here we rose, you know, same thing. Thank you, Brett Michaels. So I have the melody. So let's see if I can combine that, and that melody happens right on the break. So what if I play my G like this? What I'm doing, I'm muting the A string with my middle finger. It's a little expert trick here, I guess. So I'm just ever so gently touching the A string with the middle finger. Then I have an open G and a D. Then I grab that melody note with my pinky. Sounds cool. Add a little dynamics, make it a little louder. It also sounds nice. And you know, this feels kind of like a G7 chord. So what if I add some notes? I mean, this is the dominant 7 note of the G. Learn your intervals, by the way. If you don't know them, ask me, and I'll tell you how it works. So I go from a dominant 7 to a 5th here. So if I harmonize it, maybe it sounds cooler. Like, I don't feel it to be empty right away. Around there it starts to feel empty. Up to that point it sounds pretty cool. So what if I just add a third on this one and an octave on that one, or a root rather. So I'm just taking 2 notes out of a G chord, this being the third, major third, and this being a root, and adding it to my melody notes. So I have this. And then a little bit of dynamics, and voila, it starts to sound like music. So far, pretty cool, and here's what we have. I'm going to try to play it. I haven't practiced this, so, you know, it's probably not going to sound that great, but who cares? With the intro. And then that goes back into the intro. Let's figure out the chorus too. But I mean, so far it's pretty good, right? We spent about 10 minutes and we already have a pretty cool sounding verse. And this is just like the bare bones. This is what I do. So I'll just start with the skeleton, you know, like verse, or not verse, but like chords and melody. Put them together, add a little groove to it, and then you start adding ideas. Before you know, you're Tommy Emmanuel, or maybe not. It worked for Tommy though, so. You know, maybe it works for you too, who knows. Can take a nice sip of water. The chorus melody goes like this. Oh, there is something like that. So the chords, well, that fits awfully well over a B minor, doesn't it? So this chord here is just a B minor 7. And mind you, I'm doing this with mostly just basic standard chords that you learn from, you know, your first guitar chord book, whatever. And then next chord is where the melody note lands over there. And then we have the fasting that lands over G. So let's figure out how to do this. And also in the song, I'm sure you know, it goes more to the 8th note thing. Okay, so maybe I should keep that 8th note thing. I know I just told you that, you know, stick to the groove, but since the chorus in the song absolutely changes there, you know, why not roll with it? And then for the fast thingy, if I look at the notes, this is kind of hard to play. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could do it like that. So I'm just playing a G chord again and trying to play these melody notes. But first note being an E, I have E as an open string, right? Second note is a D, can't do much about that. Last note is a B, I have B as an open string too. So if I try to do, I could do that instead. Instead of doing, I can go E, open E, B, open E, D, and then that's the D on the B string, by the way. If you haven't learned the notes of the neck, do it. Open E, and then we have D on the B string. And then I just pull that off again to make it a little bit easier for my hand so I don't have to attack every note so much. And if I can do this over a G, and I'll already show you like my cheat version of playing a G, right? I'll just put my ring finger on the 5th fret on the A string, on the E string, sorry, because we're in drop 2. I will ignore the A string altogether because I don't really need it. And then with my plucking hand, I'll just play the D, G, B, and E string. And then I'll grab this note with my ring finger on this hand because it's already on the string. And then I'll do a pull off. So instead of doing this tricky thing, which sounds awful because I'm not that good at playing it. If I do this, not only do you get like the different timbre of the open strings, it sounds really fancy, it's much more fluid. And then we have the break. Why not add a little chromatic on the way over there? So the whole course will be... And then we have... Oops. The really good thing to do there is to make sure that melody notes... Sorry. Thirsty today. Must be all that rocking and rolling I've been doing. Having this note ring over into the intro makes it sound much better. Compare to... So it flows infinitely much better, I think. Infinitely, not just a little bit, but infinitely much better. So the whole thing, I'm gonna try to play through it. Hopefully it will sound alright. And again, I'm now 17 minutes into my video and I figured out a pretty cool verse and chorus for the song. Just by taking the chords and the melody, mashing them together, adding a little bit of a groove to it, and incorporating a couple of ideas. And you know, you're much cooler than a Wonderwall guy. You can do this on Wonderwall too, by the way. And then you're gonna be like mind blown. It's gonna be like Neil Armstrong just came to the party. Or that other Armstrong guy from Green Day. Anyways, here's the whole thing. Maybe throw some harmonics on it. Why not have like a walking bass line? I don't know. You figure it out. Chorus. Yeah. It also helps play right string. So there you have it. It can be pretty easy. You don't have to be a phantom jazz guitar player with years and years and years of experience. So I encourage you to take any song that you like, whatever you feel like, and just figure out what the chords are, figure out what the melody is, and see if you can come up with your own arrangement. It doesn't have to be that hard. So cool. The more you do it, the better you get at it. I hope this was helpful. Say hi to me on Facebook or Twitter. I'm also on Instagram now. Hey, yay! So if you're around on the internet and you're watching this, please let me know what you think. Have a good one. Bye bye.